Ms. Hassan.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. The topic that we will be dealing with through the evidence today is the question of the handover of the 121 dockets to the head office and the return of the dockets to the PKTT. There'll be two witnesses testifying today. The first witness is Major General Motsepe, and she is available and ready to proceed, and she will be led by Advocate Kowe.
Good morning, Ms. Poe.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Chair, the witness is ready to be sworn in. She will be taking the oath.
Good morning, General Motsepe.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Please place your full names on record.
I'm Mary Kuki Motsepe.
Please speak up a bit if you can, General, and maybe use both mics.
Okay.
And pull both closer to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. My name is Mary Kuki Motsepe.
You swear that the evidence you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, General.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. General, in front of you, there should be two files. The first file, labeled Statements and Annexures. The second file, labeled 121 Dockets. And General, if you move to the first tab of the file that has statements, the first statement is your statement, and it ends at paragraph 20. Can you see that? At page 20.
Yes, I can see that. Thanks.
And at page 20, you have signed the statement. Can you confirm that that is indeed your signature?
Yes, Commissioner. That's correct. That's my signature.
Commissioners, I was informed that all the commissioners, but for Commissioner Khumalo's files, were updated with the signed statement. Is that so?
It does not matter. You can simply replace the last page at any convenient time.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And General, that you confirm that this is the statement you have prepared for purposes of giving your testimony before the Commission.
Yes, Commissioners. That's the statement.
Thank you, General. General, if you could start by describing the position you currently hold within the SAPS and your reporting lines.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. I'm a female police officer in the South African Police Service with the rank of a Major General and currently serving as a component head for serious and violent crime investigations attached to the Detective and Forensic Services Division. I report directly to the Divisional Commissioner, Lieutenant General Yodasin Tumule, who report directly to the Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Shadrach Sibia. I'm stationed at the SAPS head office at 231 Francis Bar Street, Pretoria.
Thank you, General. And can you then give just a brief summary of your service history?
Commissioners, I joined the South African Police Service as a student at Hammanskraal Police Training College from 1st of June 1991 until 31 December 1991. I will only highlight a few of my achievements to date. I joined the SAPS Krugersdorp Detective Service, attached at the Child Protection Unit as an investigator until September 1993. I moved through the ranks in the Detective Service as a General Crime Investigator, then as a Sergeant Inspector, Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, and a Colonel. On 1st of May 2012, I was appointed as a Section 8 at National Detective Service with a rank of a brigadier, where I was responsible for inspections, interventions, docket investigations at provincial, station level, and the performance monitoring thereof. In August 2016, I was appointed Gauteng Provincial Deputy Commissioner for Crime Detection as a Major General until 31st December 2018. I was later transferred to my current role as a National Detective Service as a component head of serious and violent crime. I'm holding a diploma in police administration, BTech policing. I'm also in possession of relevant detective courses and leadership courses.
Thank you, General. You've set out in some detail your roles and responsibilities. Can you give us a summary of that, your current roles and responsibilities and the units that you oversee?
Okay, Commissioners, my role and responsibility within this Division Detective and Forensic Services as the National Component Head for Serious and Violent Crime Investigations. I'm responsible for the effective and efficient investigation of serious and violent crimes. I'm responsible nationally for investigation, monitoring, and evaluation of the performance of the following units: murder and robbery, National Investigation Unit, stock theft and endangered species, taxi violence, and also the monitoring of the tracking teams in all provinces. According to the mandate of the Serious and Violent Crime Investigations, political killings fall within murder and robbery units, which is within my component. In fact, there are dockets that were given to political tax team that were originally dockets within my components. There are also officers and members from my component who were deployed by the PKTT to join as investigators, but most of them returned to the national and provincial office.
Thank you, General. We'll then move into your involvement in handling the 121 dockets. You say that you first found out about the dockets coming to head office in early March 2025. Can you tell the Commission how you found out and what would be your involvement?
Okay, Commissioners, I think it was sometime in March. Myself and General Sintumoli, we were from General Sibia's office. It was an informal meeting. When we were about to go out in the entrance, it's an entrance sort of is a security entrance. That's when General Sintumoli asked me if whether I've heard that the PKTT is disbanded. Then I said, I'm not aware. Then he said, all those dockets, they are coming to you. Then I said, it's fine because political killing falls within my mandate. And then she said that they are still busy with the discussion thereof. I will be informed later.
And when were you officially then informed of the dockets coming to your office?
I was never informed officially. After we have this engagement, myself and General Sintumoli, I received a call on the 27th of March. It was about 18:45 when I received a call, and General Sintumoli alluded that is from a meeting. Then she said, General, where are you? By that time, I was not in the office. Then she said, can you please accompany me to the Office of Crime Intelligence, where General Skumalo is a divisional commissioner to collect the docket of the PKTT. Then I didn't answer the question because she already in March sensitized. I mean, some 2-3 weeks back, she sensitized me about this collection. Then I said, I'm not in the office, but I will arrange with Brigadier Kopolitat to accompany her to collect those dockets from General Kumalo's office.
And even in this engagement, did she inform you of what exactly your involvement with these dockets would be?
No, she never mentioned. She just wanted me to go and accompany her to collect the dockets. She never elaborated further.
Thank you, General. And then on the 28th, the following day, the dockets were then collected. Can you tell the Commission about this?
Yes, on the 20, after arranging, let me go back a little bit, Commissioners. The manner in which he called me on the 27th, actually we were supposed to go on the 27th. Then I learned later that herself, Brigadier Kopoditata, Colonel Mguli, Colonel Ramoroka, and Lieutenant Colonel Masohobati is presently on retirement. Actually, they went on the 28th, not on the 27th. So immediately when I spoke with her, so that she can arrange with Brigadier Kopoditat, I called Brigadier Kopoditat. Then he said that General Sintumule already called him and they've made some arrangement. Then on the 28th, they went to CI and then they collected the dockets where Brigadier Kopoditata, they've made some audit when they were there and they were informed that this docket, they're en route to KZN. And then Brigadier Kopoditata and the other colonels, they came with the dockets and they put them in a strong room at our national office. The strong room is on the second floor where Brigadier Kopoditata is residing. Actually, Brigadier Kopoditata is a section head of the stock theft and endangered species, which fall under my direct command.
You say, General, that you had no problem with the dockets or you being associated with or the dockets coming to you because they fell under, let me loosely say, your mandate.
Yes, Commissioners, what I'm trying to say, when General sensitized me about the docket that
Yes.
the PKT is going to be disbanded without giving me some reasons, I didn't have a problem because I know political killings falls under my mandate, especially the section of murder and robbery. And my members, when the PKT started 2018, they were deployed at the PKT. I know the works of the political tax team there because I think during 2019, I also went to visit where Major General, the now Divisional Commissioner Kumalo, was in charge of the tax team.
Yes. So I understand the point about the dockets falling under your mandate. But what I would like to get clarification on is why the dockets had to come to head office. Did you ever get to understand that?
No. From the onset, I didn't know why they were coming to. I will elaborate when we go through the reasons why they were brought here. But from the commissioners, what I'm trying to say from the onset, there were no proper explanation to me why the dockets were taken here.
Right.
Now I'm saying through my testimony, commissioners will understand much better why they were brought here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, General. And you say that even at this point on the 26th, after the General Brigadier Kopoditata confirmed that the dockets were now in the strong room, there was still not a clear indication of what would be done with the dockets.
Yes, until such time myself, then I called because Brigadier Kopoditata already informed me that whilst they were there at the crime intelligence offices, General Sintumule told them the dockets will go to back to KZN. Then I think the first week of April, it was on Friday, the 5th, if I'm not mistaken, I called General Sintumule just to find out, General, what now is going to happen with this docket because nobody is saying anything to us. Then she said that actually this docket, they are supposed to go back to KZN, to the PKTT. Then I asked the question, why now, what is the reason of the docket being here? Then they must go back to KZN, back and forth, because I see it doesn't make sense. Then she said that she still have to make some arrangement to call General Mkwanas about us to take the docket back to KZN.
To your knowledge, when exactly had the dockets arrived at head office? I'm asking that because you are basically saying as early as March, there was already talk that the dockets should go back to KZN. When had they arrived at head office?
The docket arrived on the 28th of March.
and talk for them to go back was when?
Okay, Commissioner, the docket, when they collected the docket on the 28th, already they discussed it there. Brigadier Kupoditata, General Sintumule, and the other officers, that actually this docket, they are only here for auditing because they audited them whilst they like the counting. They counted from 1 and then the number was 118. And then actually they were here for auditing, so the General Sintumule as a divisional commissioner, she's going to hand them back to KZN. So actually the docket came to our office on the 28th of March.
Meaning, even as they arrived, the idea was for them immediately to go back as soon as the auditing process had been finalized.
Yes, but General Sintumule was supposed to make arrangement first with General Mkwanas. That's when myself now, I called the General. I had Brigadier Kupoditata.
No, I just wanted to understand the purpose for them coming to head office.
Yes.
So they are coming up purely to be audited, meaning that as soon as that auditing process had been finalized, they would go back.
Yes.
So that's your understanding.
Yes, Commissioner.
Why could the auditing process not take place in KZN? Why did the dockets have to come up to head office for that simple process?
Commissioners, really, I don't know. Maybe General Sintumule, when she comes to testify, if she will come to testify, maybe she will explain the whole process. But that's what I heard from Brigadier Kupoditata, because I was never part of the previous meetings which led to the disbandment. So maybe she can explain that, why they were brought here, audited, and again back to KZN.
Thank you. I have never understood that it was General Sintumule's instruction that the dockets should come to head office. Was it not a higher up instruction that they should come to head office?
I think, Commissioner, when I go through the testimony, that's when I said, Commissioner will understand how those documents come to.
You see, I'm raising these questions because they relate to this fundamental question of why they had to come up in the first place.
Yes.
Now, you have said General Sintumule is the one who would have to explain why the dockets had to come to head office for the simple auditing process. So that's why I'm now referring to perhaps the person who would have to explain is the person from whom the instruction came originally. So it's in that context that I raise this. But if, as you say, you are going to say more on this later in your testimony, I will leave it at that.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
I will leave it there at this stage.
Thank you, Chair. General, and you say that the auditing process was done within the day. Is that your testimony?
Yes, they've done the auditing at the Office of Crime Intelligence. Before they brought the docket here, the auditing was done there at Crime Intelligence. And they even, there was a handing over certificate and some minutes which were written down, where General Sintumule and General Kumale signed both. And then in attendance were Brigadier Kupoditata together with other members from Crime Intelligence. I don't know, is it PKTT, but I know Brigadier Kupoditata, his name is also appear in the attendance register where General Kumalo and General Sintumule have signed over the handing over of dockets.
Thank you, General. Commissioners, for ease of reference, there is a statement in tab 3 of the files. The statement is by Colonel Mzuli. Colonel Mzuli was present for the auditing, and so he is not going to be called, but he has provided a statement. And in that statement, at annexure IM1, is the attendance register of the persons who were there for the auditing process. And at IM2 is the audit process itself. And you will see at page 6 of that document are all of the signatories that were there for the audit. We wish to hand up or mark the statement as an exhibit. We are at exhibit 33. General,
Ms. Bowe, we're saying there's rarely ever reference to the exhibits running on the side. We think it's best to just clearly identify the document according to how it's marked in these bundles, and forget about the exhibit numbers on the side. I've forgotten when last we referred to those. It's been I think it was when Ms. Hasim was leading. I forget which witness, but that was quite a while back. We won't get lost, I don't think, as long as we just clearly identify what document it is for purposes of the record and for purposes of us going back to it when we want to. Would that be fine?
yes, that's fine, Chair. We have a running list, and so we mark it.
I'm sorry.
Exhibit 33, witness statement and annexes of Israel Mvuli. Would that suffice?
Okay. All right. I just wanted to avoid the reference to
we can
But
subtract.
no, let's keep it. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. General, the audit process has been done, and you've now had a conversation with General Sentimole, who had informed you that they need to make arrangements for the dockets to be transported to KZN. Did she indicate when this would happen?
Yes, Commissioner, she did indicate. She even said that actually, General, let's plan maybe to hand over those docket the following week. So the following week will be the week of the 9th or 10th. That's when she said that she's planning, but she will come back to us to give us the proper date when we can plan to go to KZN.
Thank you, General. And you then go on leave. By the time you go on leave on the 11th of April, still no arrangements to take the dockets back to KZN had been made.
Yes, there was no arrangement. But when I came back from leave during the first week of May, that's when I inquired from Brigadier Koporitata actually what transpired whilst I was on leave. Then they explained to me that there was an arrangement which were made, and then itinerary were completed. I think it was done on the 24th of April, and they were planning to take the dockets to KZN in my absence here. Commissioners, if maybe you allow me just to go a little bit before one of the preparation to go to KZN. Brigadier Koporitata informed to me when they were doing the audit, conducting audit. Actually, they were a plan put in place about the phases which is going to take place about this docket. And then the first phase of docket to be handed over. Those are the one which they were doing the audit. Actually, there were 3 phases which is going to take place because of now the PKTT is going to be disbanded. So the first phase where this docket which they were auditing, the 118, they were docket which were still under investigation. And the second set of dockets would be what we refer to as decision dockets. Normally, there are some cases where we don't just arrest, you complete the investigation. After that, you send docket for decision for the prosecutor, senior prosecutor, to give further guidance. That was the docket, which will be the second phase. Those docket, they are not yet handed over. It was just phases. The third phase will be docket from court, whether finalized or docket which are still on trial. That will be the third phase. But the phase which we are dealing now is 118 docket which were still under investigation.
General, can I just, before you move to the return of the dockets, what is the purpose of an audit? When you audit the dockets, why are you doing that? What are you looking for? And what are you hoping to get out of the process?
Okay, thanks, commissioners. When we do conduct docket auditing, usually we want to check whether the docket, for example, in the printout or checklist, the docket will be 118 with a specific case number, station, and the charge. So when you audit docket, you just want to check whether the very same charge appears on the list, which is on the printout, which you get from the case administration system. We check whether the complainant is the same, and then we have to do it through the right way of doing docket audit. You must audit with the system in front of you to check whether the charges relate with the charges which are captured in the system. That's the docket audit. But some other way of doing, the way they've done it, actually is an informal. They were just checking docket from 1 to 118, whether they are still the same as the one which are in the checklist or on the printout. But the right way of auditing, you must even audit the charges, the right case numbers, formulation of charges. That's how you do the docket audit. And docket audit, sometimes you couple it with docket inspections. If you do audit, you also do the docket inspection. But auditing is just to get the gist of the docket, whether they correspond with the system where they are captured.
And then once you have done all of that, what do you do with the results? So you've completed the audit. You have confirmed that what is captured in the document is consistent with what is in the document inside. You have your results. Then what do you do with those results?
With those results, the person who gave instruction to conduct the audit, you must give a certificate to the person, present to her or to him that the audit have been conducted. Actually, we want to, because sometimes you find that the printout will say 118 dockets. Only to find that if the investigator or whoever is presenting is 110, maybe 110, 8 is missing, then they have to account where are these 8 dockets. Some of them, they will find that they are in court. Some of them, maybe they are also sent for decision. Or some of them, maybe they are lost somewhere. Then they have to find out for where are those dockets. But we make sure that dockets are all accounted. If your dockets are 118, they must be like that. And sometimes inside those dockets, you will find that the other dockets, the main docket, there's another docket inside. But it's independent because that docket will have its own case number. So you have to audit everything. Whether the docket comprise of 3 dockets inside, we have to audit all of them and give the picture. Because maybe the printout which you are having will say 118. But inside, when you check, actually it's no longer 118, it's 120. And then you find that the very same docket maybe is from another station, but it was not transferred to the station where the docket are investigated. It can be some of the reasons why you find that the audit doesn't balance.
So the audit has nothing to do with the performance review of the individual detectives who are working on the dockets. You're not reviewing performance of the individuals.
That is why Commissioner said that you can do it simultaneously. You can do docket audit and also do the performance That's why now you do a proper inspection. You audited, you are satisfied, I've got 118. Now you say, let me look into the performance of this docket. You have to go one by one of those docket, then you will do your notes. After then you will write the performance, sort of review of what transpired in those dockets.
Thank you.
General, if these dockets were meant to be returned to KZN, and you're telling us as early as the 28th of March or the end of March, there seems to have been already a consideration and decision that they would go back to KZN. What would have been the point of National conducting an audit on dockets that are going to be returning where they come from? What would be the purpose?
Commissioners, and that is why I said earlier, maybe the General Sintumule will explain. But maybe the main purpose from my experience is maybe when the docket, PKTT brought 118, which was signed for. Then General Sintumule has a responsibility now must to confirm 118 from PKTT and whatever she is conducting now the audit. But the main reason of why dockets were sent to our national office, I will elaborate when I go further.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. General, you then explained that after Brigadier Kopoditata told you about the plan, which was to move them during that week of the 23rd of April, by the time you return on the 30th of April, the dockets were still not moved.
Yes, Commissioners, the docket was still not moved, and I just want to articulate further that my role in the handing over of the dockets, I was not involved during the handing over of the docket from crime intelligence to our office. But when I come back from national, it's a concern for me because this docket now they're still put in the safe. Then that's when now again I'm asking General Sintumule, General, this docket have been long now. It's almost a month. Actually, what is going to happen with this docket? Then General Sintumule said that, hey, General, you know what? Let me phone General Mkwanasi. Then she phoned General Mkwanasi. It's now May month. After some time, maybe 2 to 3, 4 days, I called her just to find out what the General Mkwanasi is saying. It's me who's persisting about this docket because it's a concern for me. Then she called General Mkwanasi. Then General Mkwanasi said that she told me back now, when I called her again, just to find out what did General Mkwanasi said. Then she said that General Mkwanasi said that he's got nothing to do with those dockets. I even said, just like that, as a provincial commissioner, actually those dockets belongs to him. He's the main custodian of the docket as a provincial commissioner. Then she said, hey, I don't know. What am I going to do? Then I said, we must do something. Then she said, let me call the national commissioner. She called the national commissioner. After some days again, I called her just to find out what did the national commissioner response. Then she said that the national commissioner said that General Sibia must ensure, or General Sibia, it is his environment. He can use his own discretion about those dockets. Then on the 20th...
Before you move to the 20th, the time between when you first called General Sintumule to find out about movements of the dockets to KZN, and eventually when you follow up with her again, that was a 2 weeks. So again, in those 2 weeks, nothing was happening with the dockets.
Nothing was happening with those dockets, commissioners.
And when she informed you of General Mkwanasi's refusal, did you ask or probe about why he refused the dockets?
Yes, I did probe, commissioners, but I couldn't get the exact answer. That's when I asked Now, what are we going to do with this docket? Then she said she will call the National Commissioner. Then after some few days again, I called her. She said that the National Commissioner said General Sibia must use his own discretion with those dockets.
And so by the 19th of May, all that had happened with the dockets would have been that one-day audit that was done on the 28th of March.
Pardon me, sorry, Commissioner.
That by the 19th of May, the only thing that was done to the dockets would have been that audit process.
Yes, the only thing which was done was the audit process. Nothing was done. The docket was still in the strong room.
Okay. And then you say that on the 19th of May, you are then called to a meeting with Generals Sibia and Sentumule. Can you tell the Commission about this meeting?
Commissioners, on the 19th of May, I was called by General Sentumule. Then we went to General Sibia's office because myself, General Sentumule and Sibia, we are not sitting in the same office. General Sentumule is sitting in Acadia. Myself and General Sibia, we are at the main head office building. Me, I'm on the side of on the sixth floor. General Sibia is on the other side of the 7th floor. When I arrived there, I found General Sibia and General Sentumule. Then General Sibia said that maybe I've already heard that General Mokwanase refuses the docket, and the National Commissioner now says he must use his own discretion in those dockets. Then General Sibia said that because of the political killing falls under your mandate, under your component, now the ball is in your court. You must see to it what you do with those dockets, assemble officers so that you can proceed investigating those dockets. Then immediately there I said, it's fine, General, no problem, we'll proceed. Then I phoned Brigadier Kopoditata just to assemble officers. And then I even mentioned, can you get Colonel Mdluli and Colonel Mashile? And then they must identify some other officers. Actually, I said if they can be maybe plus minus 10, 8 to 10 officers. Then immediately I left General Sentumule and General CB. I went to Brigadier Kopoditata's boardroom on the 2nd floor. Me, I'm sitting on the 6th floor. Then when I arrived there, I just gave them the background because other officers were not part of collecting docket from crime intelligence. So I have to give them the background of how did this docket come here, the collection part of it. They've been in the safe. I've been called. Now I think we must do something. It's been long for this docket to be here.
General, you have told us that the dockets came up to head office for a very simple process, which was to audit them. Let's leave aside the fact that it does not make sense why they would have had to come to head office for that simple exercise. Now, all of a sudden, they are to be investigated. Do you know what informed the change that is now they must be investigated? What informed that?
Commissioners, when I was called to General Sibia's office together with General Sentumule, the explanation was because of General Mkwanas said it's got nothing to do with those dockets. And now the National Commissioner is alluding that General Sibia must his own discretion. So the very same discretion is now that I must now proceed to ensure that now we proceed with the investigation. I think maybe what informed the change of no longer auditing to investigation is because of General Mokwana's refused the docket, which, according to my understanding, when they go back to PKTT, they will be investigated. And now the National Commissioner says, use our own discretion. It means now at national, because my component is the one which have an investigating capacity and capabilities. It's me now who must proceed to ensure that investigations unfold from those dockets.
I'm just trying to place myself in General Mkwana's seat. The dockets are taken for a purpose that does not make sense, purportedly to conduct this simple process, which is to audit them. And it just doesn't make sense that they should have come to Gauteng for that purpose. In that sense, perhaps one can, and I'm going to invite your comment on this, one can understand why General Mkwanaze would have reacted the way that he did. If you wanted the dockets purely to audit them, why take them to Gauteng?
It's true, Commissioner. I also put myself in the shoes of General Mkwanaze. You can't just take docket and you say it's simply audit, then later proceed with investigations.
Because you could have audited them in KZN. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about those who wanted purportedly. I'm not even saying that I'm accepting that the real purpose for taking them was to audit them. Could have been done in KZN. Simple exercise as you've explained it.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, Ms. Paul.
Thank you, Chair. General, in paragraph 19, you say that in the meeting you were asked to assemble a team. What did you understand that to mean? Was it to assemble a team within the national office in the same vein as the task team, or what does that mean?
No, it was not on the same vein as the tax team commissioners, because immediately when General Sibia said that assemble a team, then I said, General, let us not be seen as if now we are doing a team because of, according to yourself and General Sintumut, the PKTT is disbanded. Now we are forming another team. I will get the officers from the section. Yes, it can be, we can say a team, but it's not a team. It's not a tax team. Actually, it's not a tax team per se. It's just members from different sections, because I was taking members from stock theft, National Investigation Unit, together with the Medan robbery, just to go and, because they're detective, we are all trained, we can also conduct the investigation, irrespective of the task team.
General, what did you mean by that, and why did you think it was necessary to say you should not be seen to be creating a team to replace the PKTT?
Commissioners, why I emphasize of let it not be seen as a team, because the PKTT is a team, which was a tax team, is disbanded. But now we come up with another team. But in a layman's world or way, we can say it's a team. Just to take 2, 3, 4, they become 10 officers. Me, I was preferring to be an investigating team, just to proceed with the investigation. That's how I made it to be understood in that way. Let us not be seen as making another team, because the PKTT is disbanded. I will take members from the different sections. Then will be a team which will be, but not a team with all those responsibilities of how the PKTT were conducting their investigation in KZN. It's not a tax team. I didn't want us to name it a tax team. It's not a team. It's an investigating team who's going to conduct investigations, not a tax team.
Thank you.
General, is it fair to say that you had accepted, you were told that the task team, the PKTT, had been disbanded? That was your understanding, right?
Yes, that was my understanding.
Is it fair to say that there was no documented plan, a written plan that was going to deal with the after. What happens after the PKTT is disbanded? Who's going to investigate this KZN political killings? What is going to happen to the dockets? Who's going to be the custodian? Who's going to account to the families in KZN who lost their loved ones? Who's going to account to the courts and the prosecutors in KZN about the cases they were involved with and the dockets they were involved with? Because I struggle to understand the idea that a detective who deals with stock theft in Johannesburg can be given a docket that deals with a political murder that took place in 2016 in KZN. And that person sitting in Johannesburg can then investigate that murder and get to the conclusion of the investigation, whatever that is. I just struggle with that, and I'm hoping, and I know it's not your fault, this was dropped in your lap, but I'm struggling to understand how that was going to work. Can you just enlighten us, please?
Okay, thanks, commissioners. Commissioners, after the meeting with, maybe I must proceed with now to what the commissioner is asking. After that engagement with General Sintumule NCB, then I went to Brigadier Koboditat. I've already informed him to get those officers. Then I went to them. I explained what transpired actually, the background, how did this docket came to head office. Then I instructed Brigadier Koboditat to take all those dockets from the strong room. I saw them, they were there in the crate. Then I said, colleagues, because now the ball is in our hand, as detective, let's start first with the inspection. Let's take this docket so that we can familiarize ourselves. To answer that question, Commissioner, which you said that stock theft from Johannesburg to go to KZN. Before you embark, you familiarize yourself with the dockets. But within that composition of the officers, mostly were from National Investigation Unit and the Madlanga robbery. The stock theft were only for the collection, because I know their strength, I know their expertise. So stock theft in head office, they don't investigate. But Madlanga robbery and National Investigation Unit and taxi violence, we do have dockets, we do investigate. And we also investigate dockets from KZN. It doesn't need that you must be in KZN, then you can investigate. We investigate all over the country. We get docket from national, I go to Western Cape, all the provinces. You are a detective, you have to swim through. So those dockets, when we went through the inspections, we already saw the hanging fruits, the low hanging fruits, where we can start with the inspection. So we have conducted the inspections, then we saw where we can start.
And it's my fault that I said too many things. What I started with was, is it fair to say that there was no documented plan about what was going to happen with the dockets?
At our disposal, there was no plan. I was never given a plan. The ball was in my hand. I have to devise a plan, and I devised a plan.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner.
Thanks, Commissioner Kukumala. General, in paragraph 20, before we go into the inspection, at paragraph 20, you talk about the reasons that General Sibia gave you for the disbandment. Can you talk to the commissioners about that interaction with General Sibia?
Okay, commissioners, I just want to mention that after I've engaged with Brigadier Koboditat, then I think after a day, I went to General, because now the docket is with me. They are no longer going to KZN. I just want to find the jigs of why this docket were taken to us. I have to ensure that now investigation unfolds. If Commissioner maybe allow me so that I can read this paragraph verbatim. Okay. Paragraph 20. Or let me start with paragraph 19. Okay, no, commissioners, let me go straight to paragraph 20. I instructed my team to conduct an analysis of the dockets and to prepare a detailed report on their findings. This exercise commenced on the 19th May 2025 until 30th May 2025. I recall that when I was told that my team would be conducting the investigations, I asked General Sibiya for the real reasons for the disbandment of the PKTT. He told me that according to the approved organizational structure, the PKT must cease to operate and fall under murder and robbery, which is a section under the Serious and Violent Crime Investigations, and of which I'm the component head. I'm aware of the study and the organizational structure. All that was required was for the murder and robbery unit to be properly capacitated, but the structure was already in place. General Sibiya also said that there had to be a fair representation of the murder and robbery sections within the 9 provinces, not just in KZN, and that the budget allocation for the PKTT was a problem because it was disproportionately higher for the PKTT in KZN than any other unit dealing with the same type of crimes.
General, when General Sibiya tells you about the organizational structure that is there and that the PKTT must now cease to operate and fall under murder and robbery, you conclude in that paragraph by saying all that was required for the murder and robbery units to be properly capacitated, but the structure was already in place.
Yes.
Does that mean, in that last part, does that mean that as at the time that you get given the instruction to now proceed with investigating these dockets, the murder and robbery units in the new structure were not properly capacitated at that point?
Commissioners, the structure is there.
Yes.
But when you go to other provinces, you will find, especially Smolanyana provinces, you will find that the structure is not fully implemented because of capacity reasons. Let me take an example of Limpopo. In Limpopo, the structure is the same, but you'll find that the National Investigation Unit, which in the provinces we call them Provincial Investigation Unit, they are no longer functional like in the past when this structure was introduced. So the members who were working under the Provincial Investigation Unit are now falling under the murder and robbery. So actually the plan is the structure must be fully implemented. Like when you go to Limpopo, you'll find the structure as it is, like Provincial Investigation Unit, murder and robbery, taxi violence, stock theft, and also the tracking team under the Serious and Violent Crime.
So is the short answer that as at the time of this reason given to you by General Sibiya, the murder and robbery units were not fully implemented
No,
yet?
the murder and robbery are fully. That is why from the onset, commissioners, if you can recall when General Sintumulo was saying the political killing are coming to you, then I said that it doesn't make there's no problem in that one because political killing falls under the mandate of serious and violent crime, murder and robbery.
Yes.
So the structure is there.
Yes, what I'm trying to understand is when you say it wasn't properly capacitated, those units were not properly capacitated, why is that relevant to the decision that you are now being asked to implement?
Maybe Commissioner don't understand your question.
So you say, General Sibiya said to you that he told you that the approved organizational structure, under that structure, the PKTT must cease to operate and fall under the murder and robbery units, right? Which were already there.
Yes.
Right? But you further on in the last paragraph, in the last sentence, you say all that was required for the murder and robbery units to be properly capacitated. So let's stop there. let's stop there without reading the rest of the sentence. What I would like to do to understand is, what does it mean when you say all that was required now, all that was left was for those units to be properly capacitated, and how, the second part of my question is how that would affect this decision that you are now being asked to implement, if at all?
Actually, Commissioner, the way I understood General Sibia, the reason of disbanding the PKTT, actually the PKTT must be capacitated into the maiden robbery of KZN, where the structure is already in place, even though in some provinces is not fully capacitated because of issues of resources, human resources. But in KZN, there's a maiden robbery under serious and violent crime at the province. So now when you disband this PKTT, some of the members of PKTT actually, they are not all from KZN, they are from other provinces. So when they go back to, if it is disbanded, members go back to their station or unit of origin, because some of them, they are not actually from the specialized unit maiden robbery. They were taken from the stations.
Yes.
And then now they are at the PKTT. So when this PKTT is going to be disbanded, some of the members will go back to maiden robbery of, if they are members from KZN, they will go to the maiden robbery of KZN, and the others will go to their respective.
So was it your understanding that the members of the PKTT, the now disbanded PKTT, when they go back to their stations, all of them were now going to slot into murder and robbery unit? Was that the plan?
Yes, it was the plan that when they go back to their station of origin, it depends from state. Already they've been exposed to the investigating these murder cases for the past 5-6 years. So when they go back to the station of origin, we can't lose that capacity. Actually, they must be slotted into the murder and robberies.
Is that what you were told would happen, or that's what you thought and expected should happen? Was there a written plan about it? People who are now going back to Limpopo, they were never part of the murder and robbery unit, that they would simply, from the PKTT, when they get back to their home station, there was a plan already that they would become part of the murder and robbery unit?
Sorry, Commissioner. For me, the way we were engaging with General Sibia, I didn't see the plan. The plan was discussed through the executive management, where General Sintumule, Sibia, and the others were in that meeting. The plan which I'm just alluding now is through the engagement when I'm asking why the PKTT must be disbanded. That is why I say I'm aware of this study, because I'm also the signatory to that study of this establishment of the murder and robberies and other sections. And the reasons for that study to be conducted for this organizational structure is because of we used to have a lot of tax teams which were consuming a lot of money. So when the study was conducted, was how it will be best if maybe the old murder and robberies, the old SANAPs, narcotics, they can come back and then can be capacitated. Because of if you deal with only tax team to address a certain threat, sometimes you lose it, because most of the members of the tax teams, they are not developing. They don't go to courses, the promotions, because they are forever in the tax team. So if now they are in this specialized unit, we can plan for them so that they can also develop, they can also be trained. So it's one of the reasons why this study was conducted, so that it can be fair. When we say murder and robbery in KZN, there will be members within that section. And commissioners, it doesn't stop you as a commander or as a component head, if maybe you are faced with this emerging threat, to come up with a tax team, but it's not a unit. You just take members from the very same murder and robbery. They address a problem. Then after stabilization, then we see this, now the threat is no longer in that level. Then we proceed with the investigation.
Maybe finally, so there should be, I mean, it sounds like a big decision that people, members who were part of the PKTT, now that it is disbanded, they are going back to their home stations. And when they get whatever's going to happen at their home stations, it sounds like a big decision. They don't just decide, this is where I want to belong. Management makes that decision.
Yes.
So is it fair or reasonable that we should expect there would be a record of that decision and that plan, that when they return, now that the PKTT is disbanded, when these members return to their home stations, identified in a plan, this is what's going to happen to them? We should expect such a plan.
Yes, commissioners, there should be that plan.
Okay.
There should be that plan. So far, I can't allude to that plan.
Yes.
But there should be. We can't just disband people without a plan, go back to your station without maybe provisions for those members when they go back to the state. There should be a plan.
Thank you, General.
Thanks, Commissioner.
General, when General Sabia alludes to some of these aspects of the plan, including the return to stations of origin, did you ask him for the plan?
No, I didn't ask for the plan. I was just asking what was the reasons of disbanding of the PKTT.
Okay. And have you had regard to the minister's letter disbanding the PKTT?
No, I didn't see the minister's letter. I was just informed by General Sibia during our engagement that there was a letter from the minister, but I was never given a copy of the minister's letter. He did mention that there was a directive from the minister for the disbandment of this thing.
And have you since seen the letter?
No, I didn't see. I've never seen the letter in general CBA engagement, but later when we were engaging, I did see that letter, that directive actually.
And in that letter, the minister does set out the reasons for disbandment, which is the team is no longer required, nor is it adding value to policing in South Africa. That sounds different to what General Sibia described to you as the reasons.
Commissioners, I think that one of the minister can answer. I don't know what was behind his mind or what was he thinking when he said that PKTT no longer serve value to sub-service, because of, even though they are disbanded, they are still police officials. They will serve purpose somewhere. They will definitely. I don't know what was the reason behind that. They will never serve any purpose, or they no longer serve any purpose. They will still serve because they are still carrying court dockets, those members. So they do serve. They do serve something in the communities and also in the police service.
Thank you, General. Do you agree with the proposition that the minister's reasons as articulated in the letter and those provided to you by General Sibia were different?
I can't hear, pardon me, please.
Do you agree with the proposition that the reasons articulated by the minister in his letter and the reasons that were given to you by General Sibia are different?
Yes, they are different because now General Sibia was expanding. Only in the letter of the minister is very minimal. I don't know, maybe when he was with them engaging, maybe he also gave these reasons which General Sibia now is articulating to me.
Thank you, General. And then on paragraph 22, you express your opinion on how the disbandment took place. Can you explain to the commissioners what your take is on the disbandment process?
Okay, thanks, commissioners. Can I be allowed also to read the paragraph? Commissioners, I also wish to mention that although I was not involved in the disbandment process, I agree with the view that the PKTT should not have been disbanded without proper consultation. I do not know if the minister have the authority to disband the PKTT. However, even if the minister had the authority to disband the PKTT, he had to first consult with all the relevant stakeholders, which would have included me as the component head responsible for serious and violent crimes. I also do not agree that the PKTT should have been disbanded before the upcoming elections. It is a well-known fact that KZN has the highest incidence of political killings, and there's usually a spike in politically motivated killings before elections. It would not make sense to disband the PKTT immediately, unless the stakeholders had advised the minister that immediate disbandment would be appropriate. Having said that, I do not necessarily agree that the PKTT was more successful than any other team investigating the same types of crimes.
Why do you not agree?
Commissioner?
Why do you not agree, General?
I do not agree with the PKTT.
Your last sentence, yes.
I do not agree, Commissioner, because of in these 9 provinces, we also investigate political killing murder cases, and we also investigate cases of murder, serial murder, serious murders. So now, if you say PKTT is the best team than any other teams, I think we are demoralizing our members who are working so hard as we sit here chasing suspect. We see in the media, we see all over how is our teams or detective are working more or less the same types of crimes.
I'm not sure that I follow your reasoning, General. The point is about success or lack of it. What you have said, or the reason you give, is about working hard, and it does not address the question of success or lack of it. So can you have another go, please, and explain,
Okay, thanks.
Explain your disagreement?
Okay, Commissioner, what I'm trying to say here is we do have successes in other provinces in the very same team, irrespective whether it's a tax team, where they do have less resources than the PKTT, but they are succeeding. There's a lot of convictions. Same as PKTT, they differ in dynamics, but what I'm trying to just to illustrate here is the PKTT is not the only team within the detective environment which have more successes. Other teams in 8 provinces without tax team, with the Mayagra resources, they also have great successes, Commission. I just wanted to bring to this attention that it's not only the PKTT which have higher successes, they also contribute to the performance like any other province which are also contributing. Commissioner.
Let's take one example. Those who say that the PKTT was significantly successful make the point, for example, that the PKTT had within it ballistic experts, for example, and therefore within the PKTT you would not find the delays that you ordinarily find with the ordinary investigation of crime. What's your comment on that? Is it not a fact that with detectives in other areas within SAPS would have to wait for very long periods, for example, for outcomes on ballistic testing? Is that not a fact?
Commissioners in other teams, we utilize our forensic labs, and there's a turnaround under the ballistic biology. Same with the PKTT. If they take the exhibit 2 ballistic, the very same ballistic experts use the same forensic lab. They don't have a special lab. They go to the very same lab. So there's a turnaround of 21 days, 30 days. So for them, when they say they've got the ballistic assigned in their team, It's just to expedite cases which maybe are court-driven. We also do the same in other teams. If the docket is a court docket, the prosecutor from court will write a letter of expediting. So more or less, Commissioner, if maybe commissioners were in our shoes of investigating, maybe we'll understand. So this is the arrangement which they have done with the labs, but it doesn't mean the other teams, they don't derive joy with some expert from the labs. And Commissioner, we can't afford to have a ballistic expert in every team. So this one, it was a dedicated team to address the political killings nature in KZN. That is why they've got this ballistic expert in their team. And when you do investigation, you don't only rely on ballistic experts. There's a lot of experts which are involved. For example, when we deal with...
I said, General, let's take just that one example.
Okay.
So as not to avoid being all over the place, yeah.
But just to, maybe I can conclude, Commissioner, other teams who also enjoyed the same example, ballistic experts in all the forensic lab which we have.
But as I understood the evidence with the PKTT, they would expedite this testing in all their matters. That's how I understood the evidence. But as I understand you now with regard to other areas of investigation with other subs, it's in the odd case that requests for expediting will be made. Do I understand you correctly?
Yes, yes, Commissioner. When I go through commissioners, you will also see that during the inspection, some of the dockets, they were never expedited for ballistic reports. They're still waiting now. It's 2-3 years. So they were expediting cases which are court-driven. Same with the other teams. If we arrest a suspect, we request the exhibit to be expedited through the prosecutor request. They also expedite those exhibits. So for them, this docket 118, some of them, the DNA is still outstanding, ballistic report is still outstanding because of the agreement or the manner in which we work with the courts, because we know our forensics are overwhelmed with a minimum capacity of experts. That's when now we request for the expedition, because of that's how the PKTT conduct the investigation. We arrest a suspect, then we request forensic to expedite all the exhibits which are related to the crime. If there's nothing, that is why they are still stagnant. There's no ballistic reports still outstanding.
And to very briefly to move to another example, we are told that with the PKTT, investigations were prosecutor directed, as opposed to the police virtually from start to end, investigating in a manner that may not necessarily cover all the elements of the offense, or indeed even the necessary evidence, in a manner that a prosecutor would require. What's your comment on that?
Commissioner, in my entire 32 years in the detective, you can just investigate, especially serious cases like the murders of this nature, without engaging. We do a PGI, prosecutorial guided investigation. In most serious cases, it's not only PKT, we do with the NPA. Presently, as we speak, we do have a program to enhance that, so that at the end of the day, the outcome can see the convictions. But the PGI, we do mostly, all the detective, we go first, pre-trial, there's a PGI where we engage with the prosecutors. You don't just take a docket to court, then you come back. You sit down first with the prosecutor, and then we discuss these cases, and then the guidance will be given. Most of the time we do.
Lastly, for now, you say that before the decision to disband, the minister ought to have consulted all relevant stakeholders, and amongst those you mention yourself, because you are the component head responsible for serious and violent crimes. Was it the norm for ministers to consult with you on matters involving your area of function?
Commissioner, here I was just illustrating that in this meeting, I understand this executive meeting. In the SAPSMOS, we've got the reporting protocols. I'm the component head. I've got the divisional commissioner, deputy national commissioner, and so forth, national commissioner. I didn't expect the minister just to call me. I expected maybe from General Sibia and General Sintumori to make me part of the decision which was taken to disband this PKTT, not literally with the minister, but myself also to be part of the discussion behind the disbandment. Maybe during that period, I should have come maybe with some better input, not just to disband immediately, to look into other areas of investigations or impact if the PKTT is going just to be disbanded immediately. That's how me now, I see it later when I'm discussing with General CB.
Thank you, General.
General, we now know that the instruction or the directive of the minister was that the PKTT must disband immediately. And it seems General Sibia must have understood it to be, it must be given effect to immediately. That's why the requests about the dockets, as we've now heard from other evidence. If you had been consulted, I'm not saying necessarily by the minister, your superiors, if they had in advance of the decision, before the minister made the decision, they had said to you, there's a plan to disband the PKTT by a certain date. What are the factors or the things that you as component head would have taken into account or would have suggested and proposed and advised, in fact, would have advised need to be taken into account before the date is fixed for the disbandment of that decision?
Actually, commissioners, the factors or facts which I will depose during that discussion, I think I will input that maybe we can just disband PKTT immediately the way it is stated. We have to look into other considerations like the one which I've already mentioned, like the issue of the elections, because the municipal elections are next year. And as we know, the environment of KZN political landscape, maybe we were supposed to say, let's look into the issue of the political environment in KZN. Maybe let's just take it maybe step by step, not just to disband immediately as alluded here, but I can't say what does immediately mean. Maybe the author can explain what does he mean when he say immediately, of which is true, commissioners. These tax teams really, we spent a lot of money on these tax teams. Maybe we were supposed today to take a gradual phasing out, not just bring docket, then phase 2 it will be this one, and phase 3, just gradually. And then we put it into a test. Maybe, for example, when we say gradually, then we take a test for 3 months or 4 months. Then we see if maybe gradually we have taken this out, and then we just test what is happening in KZN if this gradual movement will take place, unlike just abruptly. But I don't know, this immediately was just meaning immediately now, or what does immediately mean? But according to me, I would maybe just to suggest the gradual phasing out, because it's true, we've got the structure. If we don't do that, when are we going to capacitate the structure which is in place whilst we are still having this, the tax teams.
And what would you have said about the dockets? What would should happen with the dockets that at that point are sitting with the PKTT as this decision is being considered? And when I say docket, I also take into account that the PKTT is a multidisciplinary team. That's what we have been told. What would you have considered there and said should be considered?
The dockets were supposed to go to the maiden robbery of KZN.
Okay, so they wouldn't come to national.
No, not to national.
Okay.
We national, we give support.
Yes.
We give supporting investigation, but mostly at national. The very same docket, if it was properly discussed with all the stakeholders, it doesn't make, there's no problem if some of my members from national will work this case at 10 dockets with the members of the Maiden Robber. The National Commissioner, together with General CBA, was supposed to give just directive. As most of the dockets, they come through their offices for us to give them attention or to take them from the provinces. But through the engagement with the province, we don't just take dockets from the provinces. We engage them because most of these dockets, they come as complaint at our office. So I don't see any problem, commissioners, if this docket really were taken to Maiden Robbery within that KZN.
And what about the staff, the members who at that time are members of the PKTT, and you've already said they come from different stations and provinces? What would you have said should be taken into account and how it should be handled if you had the opportunity before the decision was made?
Okay, Commissioner, I would say those members, because they come from different provinces, but now they are carrying dockets of KZN. They will be within that Maiden Robbery investigating those dockets there. Some of them, they will say because they belong in KZN, we will maybe encourage them maybe to put some transfers to be permanently maybe posted there in KZN. Some of them, they do that. They work all over the province for some few for a period, then some of them, they are already interested there, then they do make some transfers that they can be permanently advised. There's the advice which I will also maybe input. How about those members, those who are interested to be within the Maiden Robbery in KZN, they can stay there and then we'll entertain their transfers as they come.
So you would suggest that last part so that they continue working on the dockets?
Yes, not just to take dockets because they are the one who know those. You know, Commissioner, if you started the docket investigation up until you arrest, you have this interest, you want to see the outcome. Now somebody come take your dockets, you go back to your station of origin from your province, you lost touch. Already you have done that relationship with the deceased families. You are the one who's giving feedback. So mine will say, let those members remain in the Maiden Robbery in KZN.
And then lastly, in that paragraph 22, you say you wouldn't have, especially because elections are coming up, you say local government elections are coming up, you would not have encouraged the disbanding of the PKTT. Now, I'm struggling to reconcile you saying that and also saying, well, they must be disbanded to go to the Maiden Robbery, to go and capacitate the Maiden Robbery units. And it suggests, and maybe just clarify that, in my mind, that which looks like a contradiction where you say PKT, you wouldn't have encouraged it being disbanded because we have elections coming, but you're also saying they must go and capacitate the Maiden Robbery unit. In my mind, it seems to suggest you don't think there's a need for a team such as the PKTT. It seems that what seems to be a contradiction to me seems to suggest that your view is it's not necessary to have that kind of team because this is work that Maiden Robbery units can do exactly the same way and have exactly the same claimed successes.
Okay, commissioners, in this in this statement, paragraph 22, actually I was just showing that if maybe proper consultations were done together with all the role players within the serious and violent crime, I would suggest to them that for now, let us wait for the municipal elections, because we all know what is happening in KZN during the elections. It's a well-known fact. So how about we package this disbandment up until maybe the municipal is over. But in the meantime, we work the process. We don't just fold our arms. We work a process so that when the municipal pre-elections, post-elections, there's no casualties, there's no incident, then we proceed with our proper formal disbandment, which now the members will be in the Med and Robert. So I was just explaining this one that to show that we are approaching. We are only left with some few months, even though we don't know the date for the elections. So it will be prudent that now, or how about we leave this PKTT now? But after that, in the meantime, we work the process of disbanding, so that maybe after the election, we don't start afresh. We've got a plan in place which shows that after the elections, then we start with the disbandment and the members will be taken at the Med and Robbery sections. That's how I'm just explaining. Maybe it was contradicting. You say now PKTT is the elections, now you say Med and Robbery. No, I was just trying to show that because the elections are incoming, how about we leave this team in place? But in the meantime, we work the plan. How after the election, then this member, they will be properly placed in their respective, especially in cases then Med and Robert, those who are willing to stay behind.
Okay. Maybe lastly, and I hope I'm not being unfair to you with this question. Do you, and do say if you can't answer my question.
Okay.
Do you or do you not accept that there was a valid reason behind the idea to form a task team such as the PKTT to focus on political killings? Do you accept that there's a scenario where there is merit to having such a team?
When it started?
When it started, yes.
Yes,
given what was happening at the time.
Yes. There was a valid reason during that period.
Yes.
There was a valid why a tax team, because commissioners, we do have tax teams also.
Yes.
Irrespective of political tax team. We do have tax teams where maybe there's cash in transit, where there's also traditional healers are killed, where there's a lot, where women and children are killed, raped and maimed, the gangs in Western Cape. We also have that particular tax team, but they are not forever. When we stabilize that threat, the tax team ceases to operate. So there was a valid reason why this team was established from the onset.
And is your position that as long as we haven't stabilized or you haven't stabilized the situation, if there's no evidence that you have stabilized the situation, or in fact, if the situation continued, the problem with political killings, for example, if in the next elections you see a spike, is your position that there would still be an argument to retain the PKTT?
Yes, commissioners, maybe when we reach that arena as management of SAPS, together with the other integrated or external stakeholders who are the crime fighters, we have to sit down and consider this position of disbandment. During that period,
Yes.
then we have to sit down and reconsider.
So having the team having been established, the task team, the PKTT having been established, is it fair to say that the decision to disestablish it or to disband it would have to look, on your approach, would have to look at whether you have stabilized the situation, and that is what would inform the decision to disband not just the PKTT but any other task team?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, commissioners.
Commissioners were debating if this 1 minute can be used, but we will ask for a 1 minute early adjournment for tea.
Let us adjourn and resume at 11:15.